Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Dr. Amber here, and I have been putting off this video for way too long, and so I have finally decided to get out of my own way and to sit down and just talk to you all in a more casual format, in a comfortable setting. I mean, this is my lady lounge. If you have been on my channel or following me or watching for any amount of time, you're probably familiar with this setting, but I'm just sitting on the floor instead of on the couch this time because I want it to feel different. And I am committing to going with the flow and letting this video be whatever it needs to be without overanalyzing or dissecting it. Or this is me just trying to reject perfectionism in real time. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you'll make it all the way to the end because we have a lot to talk about today. First off, thank you for subscribing. I say this all the time because I don't think anybody can say it enough. I went really hard in like the last couple of months of the year, like the close of the quarter last year and at the very top of this year. I was really excited about my YouTube channel and I was telling everybody about it, and we got the channel to 500 plus subscribers, and I'm really, really grateful. You have no idea. I'm so grateful to all of you who have subscribed based upon what you've seen so far. And I really hope that we can continue to grow together in community and create a community here. And that will come by way of me just sitting down and talking to you all just like this and having some good conversation. So thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so already, hopefully this video will inspire you to, and you'll go ahead and hit that button. Thank you for sharing my content and things that I've said and shared so far. And part of me wanting to sit down and do this video today is to honor that. It doesn't make sense for me to have gone to all the lengths that I've gone through to refresh the channel and like try to, renovate my little YouTube house here only for the lights to be on and nobody's home. So this is me just wanting to sit down and kind of start fresh in a way while also continuing on the same path or meet my original intention. So if you are new here and this is your first time watching a video of mine, my name is Dr. Amber Wright. I am a communication coach to executives and global teams. I am a communication expert and keynote speaker. I love helping people become better communicators. That's why the name of this channel is called Words Well Said, because I want to give you words well said for a life well lived. And to me, that means that you have the communication skills in order to develop and to start, build, and maintain really nourishing relationships that fill you up instead of depleting you. And that's what I'm known for. I've always been known for that. I'm also a certified life coach because life coaching is just kind of built into my work as an executive coach. And ultimately, that's what I just want you to do. I want you to be happy and I want you to be healthy and move from a place of wholeness in your life. And so that's what I endeavor for this channel to be a reflection of. It's like one part education, one part just, hey, let's hang out and talk as friends, which is the vibe for this video today. Now, how we got here to where we are today is as I was trying to strategize and think about what I wanted the video to be about. I believe in working with professionals and getting insights and information from people who have gone ahead of you. And so I had a consultation with a woman named Jen LaForge. She's really popular here on YouTube. You should go check out her channel. Jen LaForge is her name. And she offered me some guidance and a little bit of direction on the approach that I was already taking with revamping the channel. I also worked with a marketing consultant last year who helped me restructure the channel, kind of clean it up, tweak it, put some new paint on the walls and kind of like get things going. Shout out to my guy, Carrie Classic, for supporting me in that. But in my conversation with Jen, she just was like, Amber, like, you've got it. You already know what you need to do. You just need to sit down and do it. And just don't be afraid to let it be imperfect. Don't be afraid to just sit down and say whatever's on your mind, because you're good at what you do. And she's like, the teaching piece will come almost by default. And again, I knew that, but to hear her say it, it almost was like a permission slip. And I tell my clients as a coach, like, the permission slip that you're looking for is in your hand. Like, you're the only one who can point to yourself and say, I'm going to do this. But there was something to be said for me about hearing her say that, like, you've got it, just relax and lean into the process and into the experience. And I always endeavor to be helpful. I want to be helpful in my work and in my content. But I think the approach that I was taking before was leading with that, as opposed to just showing up here as I am and letting you decide for yourself if I'm someone that you want to learn from, as opposed to just coming from a teaching perspective first. So that's how I got here. She gave me some more guidance and suggestions and recommendations, and I just sat on it. I didn't do anything right away because that was just the beginning of a massive unraveling for me emotionally. And I needed to take time to let that happen. And so now that the threads have been pulled and I've been unraveled and I'm on the other side of that a little bit, I felt like this was a good time for me to come back to the channel and sit with it and sit with y'all, like literally and figuratively, with a little bit more intention. I don't have any promises I'm going to make y'all yet about consistency and how frequently I'm going to be posting videos. Right now, my goal is just to use this camera that I bought, which I hope that you love. I bought the Osmo Pocket 3 Creator Combo camera that everybody and their mama is talking about on the internet. I bought it and I'm just like, girl, you bought this camera, you're not using it. So what are you doing? Get to the shit. Like, just sit down and do it. So this is me again, sitting down and doing it. So the approach that I want to take, because there's never a scenario where I'm just going to get on here and ramble without some type of guidance. I feel like something that you've heard me talk about before, well, something that I say all the time, is communication is the key that unlocks the door to success in life, love, and business. Okay. Communication is the key that unlocks the door to success and your happiness in life, love, and business. So when I thought about, okay, when you get ready to sit down and do your video, what are you going to talk about? And I'm like, I'm going to talk about what's happening in my life, love, and business. And we'll see where that takes us. So those are going to be the 3 areas that we're going to cover today. I've got my notebook here. So you'll see me look down as I'm referring to my notes, because again, I'm not trying to sit here and make it look like I've got a teleprompter and pretend that I'm, not reading something when I'm talking to you. And writing my ideas down was the first step in me doing that. So let's have a chat and talk about life, love, and business and what's going on with me in those 3 areas. So again, just to kind of close that first tab, shout out to Jen for her guidance and her suggestion. And now it's time for me to just sit here and talk. All right. So first up, life. Life has been a lot. So like I said to you, my call with Jen ended up being this like catalyst for something that had been brewing on the inside of me for a long time. You know what it's like when you feel that ugly cry, that just like really deep, thick batch of tears that are in your throat, but you don't know what it's going to be to unlock them. That's what happened when I talked to Jen. It had already been just kind of coming. I was like, I was already feeling a lot emotionally, but I hadn't released any of that emotion yet. And I love to cry. So I'm not somebody who resists crying or anything like that. But I just, you never know what it could be a movie or a commercial, like something that you watch that just makes you sad or, kind of pulls the lever down. And here come the tears. And my call was that with her, and something that she named in her conversation with me after having watched my videos and stuff like that. She just was like, I'm really surprised by the fact that you aren't more comfortable with just kind of like sitting down and being more informal. And I said to her, like, yeah, but when I first got active on social media, it's been so long. It's just been so long. And I remember when I really started to focus on Instagram more, I was an adjunct professor at the time. I was teaching college courses. And so I knew that my students would look me up, they would Google me, and some of them would follow me. And I was really mindful of how I was showing up online. And so that is what kind of led me to just start from a place of like being really buttoned up and just like being the helpful teacher, because I didn't want to blur the lines with my students, and I didn't want them to feel like they had more access to me personally than what they already had in the classroom. And I didn't realize how much of that had really sunk in with me in terms of how I showed up online. So that on top of me historically being a perfectionist, and I'm a Virgo. I'm sure I've said this before already in this most recent batch of videos. I was your classic type A, color inside the lines, do everything. Not only are you going to do everything right, you're going to try to do it right on the very first time. And when you are trying to make access to your creativity, that doesn't always serve you. And that was something that she named. She's like, do you consider yourself a creative? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just now learning to get comfortable with calling myself that, even though it's always been there, and I can see my creativity, my creative genius even come through in my way with words and my way with people. Those are my superpowers. But the idea that I had in my mind about what a creative is and how they show up and what they do, it just didn't seem to align with who I was. So I never really fully took ownership of that label. And she invited me to just sit with that and kind of think a little bit more critically about why that is and what it could look like for me to embrace it a little bit more. And that's already a place that I've been in, like mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Last year, I read the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and that book was just what I needed right when I needed it. My friend had gifted it to me, and she's like, you'll know when it's time to read it. And I was like, okay. So she sent it to me. It just arrived on my doorstep, and I put it here on the shelf in my office, and it sat there for 2 years. I just was, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I never sat down to open it. But I kept seeing signs, and this happens a lot with people who read The Artist's Way. I kept seeing signs, like people would talk about it or reference it in conversation. And it was just kind of like, you should read this book, Amber, you should read this book. But I didn't. And so last year I finally was like, okay, I think I'm ready. I'm ready to sit with what it means for me to be a creative, and how do I want to see that play out in my life. And the book, again, was exactly what I needed when I needed it. And so I read it. And those 12 weeks were just so eye-opening, really refreshing, really invigorating. And I've just decided to deepen that and just use this as a bit of an outlet for me to also explore it. And by that, I mean, like, I don't know that you'll see the result of my creativity per se. Like, I don't know that you could ever expect really fancy videos with transitions and buttons and numbers and bells and whistles and all that stuff from me. But you will get honesty, you will get transparency. And, I'm just another person out here trying to live my life. You know what I'm saying? But taking you all on that journey with me in a way that feels good to me and makes sense to me is the approach that I'm trying to take. So just giving myself, again, the permission to sit here and kind of ramble a bit with my notes, of course. But, that's what has been going on a high level with me, of just opening up to my creativity more. And me having that conversation with her is what she just named some things that I needed to hear. And that's what activated the like emotional downpour. And what it was also new for me is learning how to sit with that. So something else that has been happening in my life lately is my therapist has been encouraging me to just sit with my feelings. Don't describe them. Don't define them. Don't judge them. Just sit with them. And as someone who had to grow up really early and really fast, and who was rewarded for being mature for their age very early, I've not really known how to make contact with what it means to just sit with my feelings, because ain't nobody got time for that. Like, I got things to do. I got classes to take. I got degrees to earn. I got shit to do. And so I've never really learned how but what's interesting is, like, I've always been a very emotional person, and I've always been comfortable with that, and I've always been okay with that. But I grew up in a way that the lessons that I was taught was that there was just no place for me to be emotional. So I never really learned how to trust the power of my emotions in the way that I've had to learn how to trust the power of my voice. And so even now, right? Like, I've been working with just that. Just feel how you need to feel. Write it out in your journal, whatever you need to do. Pray about it. Talk to your girlfriends about it. Just sit with your feelings, but don't rush to do something with them. And it's been really refreshing for me to do that. And so over the last couple of months, really this whole year, I've just been sitting in that space, and it has been really refreshing for me. And I want to continue to lean into that. I think that I'm in a season of surrender. And I am letting go of not just things that no longer serve me, because we're so quick to say that, like, oh, I'm letting go of everything that doesn't serve me anymore, but really just anything that's going to hold me back from my growth and from deepening the work of getting to know myself. Because I always say that I'm my favorite subject. I am my favorite subject. So anything that comes, or anyone that comes into my life to teach me more about who I am and why I am the way that I am, I'm all for it. So that's what's been happening with me lately, just learning how to surrender and learning how to let things be easy. So for the last few years, every vision board I've done, I've always put the word ease, like easeful abundance, or just like, again, really trying to invite ease into my life. But lately it's let it be easy. Because I can invite ease in all day long, but if it shows up for me and I resist it, that's on me. That's me rejecting the very thing that I asked for. So lately, I've just been trying to sit with, let it be easy, and defining whatever that looks like for me. I don't always have to be in a rush or in a hurry. I don't have to be super responsive all the time and be responding to people every 5 minutes, or like, I don't like notifications on my phone. I don't. I have them turned off for a lot of things. I only have notifications on for phone calls and voicemails, obviously, text messages, but nobody leaves voicemails anymore, but text messages. And there's a walkie-talkie app called Voxer and a video chat app called Marco Polo that I use. And I have notifications on for those because I know who it is that I'm talking to on those apps, but no social media or anything like that. I don't have any, I don't like notifications. So anyway, because of that, I tend to be like hyper responsive because I just want to clear up my inbox. So I'm learning to just like, it's okay if somebody texts you, you don't have to text them back in the first 5 minutes, like text them 30 minutes later or when you have the time. And that's an adjustment, but that's what I mean by inviting more ease into my life and letting it be easy. That's it, because then that speaks to the choice that we all get to make about how we show up. I tell my clients, we all have to take accountability for our participation in our overwhelm. I'm going to say that again. We all have to take accountability for our participation in our overwhelm. So it's easy to be mad at everybody else because you got to go here, you got to go there, you got to do this, you got to do that. And so many people are depending on you, and so many people have to, everybody's expecting you to do, but a lot of that stuff you agree to. You agree to those things. So now you can't be mad that people are expecting of you the very same thing that you said that they could expect of you. We set the tone for that. And so in my life, it's like, okay, take more deep breaths, move at a slower pace, and let it be easy. So that's the long and short of what's happening with me in my life. Apart from that, we're moving into a different era of parenting. I have a 14-year-old and a 9-year-old, and Jonathan Acuff, he's a writer, and on one of his posts on Instagram, he said, I don't know, I read it a couple of years ago, but he said that there becomes a point of transition when you are no longer protecting, and then you begin to actively parent. So he was saying that when your kids are little, you make all of the decisions for them. They don't have a say in where they go to school or what what their activities are and things like that. Like, we, as their parents, are making all of the decisions for them. But true parenting comes by way of them being able to start making those decisions for themselves, and those decisions begin to clash, like what we want for them and what they want for themselves. And so as they get older, particularly in the teenage years, that's when real parenting comes into play. I've always looked at myself as a tour guide to adulthood for my children. And I've always believed that and always kind of taken that approach. But now some of those lessons are being expedited with our oldest one, because, she's a teenager now. She's going to be starting high school and soon, this year. And it all just happens so fast. Like, you blink and you look up. That was the one piece of parenting advice that I didn't ask for, but that I received that proved to be true. It goes so fast. And I can't believe I've been a mom for 14 years, almost 15 years already, which is wild. But, we've been having to work through some things and boundary drawing and expectation setting and a lot of things with her. But it feels good to me and to my husband because this is what we have been gearing up for all of this time. And so that's just another big part of my life right now. And I'm really grateful that in this season of my life, I am able to show up in a way that I wanted to, that I used to dream about and hope for when I thought about my kids getting older, and me just being able to be present for them in the way that I desire and be able to show up for them in the way that I desire. And that's happening now. And I know that these years are really tender. They're really tender and precious, and the time goes by again really fast. And I want to be present for her transition in and out of high school and going off to college. And then, her sister will be right behind her, and having my feet firmly planted in the ground and letting them know that, like, I'm here, I see you, I'm with you, and I got you. That's my goal. And it's happening in the way that my heart desired. So I'm happy about that. It's not always easy, of course. Amen. It's not always easy being repetitive and trying to reinforce certain things and really be a guide and a teacher and a support system and all the things that you have to be to your kids, particularly as they get older and enter in the teenage years. But I'm very grateful that we're doing it our way, in a way that works for our family. And I'm really proud of us for that. So that's my life update. Now let's talk about love. Love is such a, what is it, many splendid thing, I think is the is the quote. I have a lot to say on love, especially as I am renegotiating my understanding, not even renegotiating, but just expanding my understanding. I'm a rapper part-time. Okay. As I'm expanding my understanding of what love means to me, and how to receive it and how to give it. And that goes even beyond my partnership. But obviously the biggest teacher as it relates to that has been my partnership. And I don't know yet how much I will or won't say while I'm here on YouTube, but love has been good to me. Like, so my partner and I have been together for 21 years. Oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah. He asked me to be his girlfriend in March of 2004. And we got married in August of 2006. So it's been 18 years married, 21 years together. And it'll be 19 years married this summer. So our 20th marriage and wedding anniversary will be in 2026, which is, that's crazy. It's so crazy. Okay, yes, dude. I just like, bro, like, that's such a long time. It's a long time. And I'm laughing about it because I'm just, as I'm telling you these dates and I'm just thinking about it, it's been such a long time. And marriage ain't been no crystal stair for me. Okay, it has been hard. It has been so hard. But we're in a time and place and space and season now where we can, again, just expand our understanding of what love means to us, and how we carry that out, and how we show up for each other and for our children and the people in our lives. I keep playing with my hair because I just got it done yesterday. Hello, hi. And I don't want my hair to brush up against the mic too much. So you're going to see me do that. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry, because I love my hair. I'll do a whole video talking about Sister Locks because I love it so much. Anyway, let me focus. Talking about love. So yeah, he and I have been through a lot. And so right now, my work is to learn how to love from a place of wholeness and healing, and not my wounds. The greatest challenge, I think, of marriage and long-term relationships in general, even if you're not married, is understanding how much of the work has to do with you as a person. And it's so easy to point the other finger at the other person and say, you don't do this and you don't do that and this, that, and the third. And most times you're probably going to be right about some of those things. But we have to learn to hold up the mirror when it's the appropriate time and put down our magnifying glass in terms of looking at other people. And I love that analogy. I heard a pastor say that in a sermon some years ago. And he's like, it's so easy to look externally, and it's not as easy to look at ourselves. And so that's always what I want to do, is turn inward and say, okay, girl, what is your part in this? And what is this moment here to teach you? And how do you want to show up? And I'm experiencing the fruit of that labor of being able to sit with myself and work on myself, because that's all I can control is me. I can't control him and what he does and how he shows up. And now he also is learning that for himself. And it's been a long time. Sometimes these lessons, they do take time. They just do. But then when you get them, you put them in the practice. And that is what we have been working on and working toward. And we're in a peaceful place now as we have been working at that thing. So I also like to say that when it comes to partnership, it's like a braid. It's three strands. It's your growth, their growth, and the growth of the relationship. And the pace of that growth of each of the three strands of the braid are happening at different paces, and trying to manage the different pace and rates of growth is hard. So when you hear people say like, oh, marriage is hard, that's really what we're talking about without really being able to name that that's what we're talking about, is how do I manage the pace of my growth, their growth, and the growth of the partnership in such a way that one doesn't feel like it's outpacing the other. And it is going to feel that way sometimes, because sometimes that's just how it happens. Like when I really started to commit to working on myself and, growing in my self-awareness and going to therapy, that was in 2016. So it's been almost a full decade of me doing that exclusively for myself. And it's only been 2 years, well, really like 1 year for him focusing on doing that for himself also as an individual. And we are currently in our second round of really concentrated couples therapy. And so, again, it just took a long time for us, but we are, like I said a moment ago, in a more peaceful place as a result of us recognizing how responsible we are for our individual growth, and then how that contributes to the growth of the partnership. So I'm really happy to be in a place where we can turn toward each other and not away. Because when it gets hard and when you feel unsure, or the boat just begins to rock more than you feel prepared for, it's easier to turn away versus to turn toward your partner, and to turn toward yourself and look at yourself in the mirror and say like, all right, what part do I play in this? And what am I going to do about whatever my challenges are? And how am I going to claim my happiness, and what does that look like? So always more to say about that. Again, I don't know how that's going to play out for me, but I like talking about relationships. Something that I do privately, kind of like off the menu, that some people know and some people don't know about my work, is that I work with couples and help them walk through their communication challenges. A friend of mine who is a relationship mediator, she said that outside of church and outside of therapy, couples don't really have any place to go to like kind of work on their stuff. And for me as a communication expert, and also someone who's been married for a long time, and again, that doesn't make me an expert on marriage, it just makes me an expert on my marriage. And I've learned a lot from my marriage that also is informed by the work that I do for a living. And so I am really grateful to be able to create a space where couples can come to me and we can just kind of work through a challenge together and rethink how we are saying things, how we're showing up in certain ways, how we're responding to each other. It's all of these same communication principles that I teach to the world, like I also do with couples. And I have such a heart for that, because I don't think that any couple who's really committed to being in it for the long term, even more so if they choose to get married, should do it by themselves. And community is such an important part of, I think, why some relationships succeed and some don't, because I think people can say like, oh, don't tell nobody your business, and it just need to be you and your partner, which I agree. Like it is just you and that person who have to be in the relationship. But sometimes you need to be like, hey, we having a hard time over here. Can somebody help? That makes a difference. And that's how I like to show up. So focusing on that at this moment in time, and just continuing my work to learn how to love myself fully. 2 years ago, God asked me, Amber, who are you when you're not achieving? Who are you when you're not achieving? And I didn't know. And I'm still on a journey of finding that out. But that question really shook me to my core. And so now the question is, who are you without your abandonment wound? Because as I'm working to deepen my relationship with myself and come to terms and make peace with my past and my childhood and my parents and feeling neglected, and the question now is, who am I without the abandonment wound? And that's a really huge question for me, because it has defined and shaped so much of my life. Feeling abandoned and feeling like I had to prove my worth in order to be loved has shaped so much of my life. And so now, coming from a place of unlearning that behavior and those behaviors is a big deal for me. But I'm working on it. I'm working on it because I'm committed to being happy, healthy, and whole in every way. And so much of that has to come by learning to love myself in a truly deep and authentic way. And it's coming along. You know what I'm saying? It's coming along. So lastly, let's talk about business. Oh gosh, there's so much to say here. And I feel like as these videos go on and I cover these three categories, a lot of these same themes are I'm going to be talking about the same stuff all over and over again, I believe. I don't, because my life is really simple in a lot of regards. So I'm just kind of giving you the heads up. And I'm also saying that out loud to let it be okay for me to just kind of iterate on some of these things as I give you these updates on what's happening in life, love, and business for me. But as it relates to business, I've been an entrepreneur for so long and I'm so tired. That's just the truth. I'm so tired. I have been doing this now I've had my business for like 12 or 13 years and so many ebbs and flows and ups and downs. On the whole, I'm very grateful to do work that I do. And it is my gift and it is my calling. And the way that I describe it is that my passion and my purpose are in alignment with my profession. So I very much love the work that I do, but the stuff on the back end of running a business is hard. So just like being responsible. And as you hear a lot of entrepreneurs say, like you have to wear so many different hats. Like I'm the salesperson. I'm not the accounting person because I do have an accountant and a bookkeeper, but I'm just like, being responsible for all of the decisions, and decision fatigue is a real thing. And you got to make the graphics and you got to post the stuff and you got to make the content and you got to be clever and think about it's like, oh my God, it's so much. So just learning how to put certain things down, knowing when to delegate. I don't have any problems delegating in my business. I just like to make sure that I'm working with people that I feel aligned with, because you can't work with everybody, you know what I'm talking about? So just making sure that I'm working with people that I feel aligned with, who believe in what I'm doing and also have the skill set that I need to carry through the things that I need to get done. For many years, I have had help. I haven't only ever done it alone in my business, but then people change, things leave, your business changes. Like I had to let the team go that I had before because I couldn't afford it. And I will always be clear about like what I can and cannot do in terms of my limitations financially, because business revenue ebbs and flows. And so I'm definitely earning my seasoning as an entrepreneur, but there are some times where I'm just like, yo, like this is so much. And you really have to learn how to trust yourself as an entrepreneur or business owner. You've got to learn to trust God if you are a believer, because there will be times where it is like tumbleweeds tumbling through my life. Okay. And I'm like, where is the money? But that's just part of it. You have to trust that it is on its way to you, and what is for you will not miss you. And I made the decision to show up in that way, coming from that point of belief. And that has served me really well. And so I will continue to grow and expand and deepen my work. Even as the world seems to crumble around us and the economy crumbles, like I just have to trust that God's got it. He's got me. And as long as I continue to hold up my end of the bargain, which is to use the gift that he gave me, I feel like I'll be okay. And so, it's not an easy road, but it's one that I've chosen. And I'm grateful to have done the things that I've been able to do up until this point. And who knows what's ahead. And I'm excited about seeing what can be ahead for me on my journey as a business owner, as a speaker, and as a coach, and as a writer, and all of the things that I'm doing and that I'm working on in this time and season. So those are my updates today in life, love, and business. I hope that you made it this far. If you did, thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me. Like even with me having this couch in my lady lounge, like I envision us just sitting here together, eating popcorn and just sitting and chit-chatting and having our time together. So thanks for watching. Again, make sure to subscribe. Good stuff is on its way for me and for you. So I hope that you have a great rest of your day, wherever the rest of your day will take you. See y'all in the next one.